Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Speed News. This is a brand new, modern show where we go through topics of the day, or topics of this evening, should I say, and we have 2.5 minutes on each one. This show is going to be 10 minutes only, and I'm going to try and get it bang on the mark every single time on the 10-minute line. So we've got 4 topics. Kolo Muani on loan in January is the big news that's surfacing at the minute. We're going to talk about Kukonki, the young centre-back who's been integrated into the squad. That's reports coming out from Steve Railston. Viktor Gyökeres has been scouted for Sweden this week, although I'm not entirely sure why, because Amorim knows him as a player. But anyway, and we've also got training updates in regards to who's come back, who's going to be coming back and when, and all that kind of stuff. So let's just get into it, because it's Speed News, and yeah, you guys have got some stuff to digest. So, Kolo Muani. This is coming out from a couple of credible journalists that Manchester United are considering a January loan move for Randall Kolo Muani. Now, just a couple of things on this. One, whenever I hear a loan and player not getting game time or not getting enough game time, it always kind of concerns me, because I always think, well, if he isn't playing at PSG, why would a club who needs someone to hit the ground running and score a lot of goals bring in someone who's not getting game time or is unhappy, like, on loan? Would someone like a City or a Madrid or someone like that, would they go and do this deal to bring in Kolo Muani on loan? Probably not, right? Obviously, we're in a different circumstance and we're in a different situation. Real Madrid have Haaland, Real Madrid have Mbappe and Vinicius, etc. And Manchester City have Haaland. So it's different in that respect. But for someone like him, does that really convince you that it's like, oh, we're going to bring him in January? How many goals realistically is he going to score coming in? How much of an effect is he going to have? What do you do with the £35 million that you just spent on Joshua Zirkzee? How does that work? So, yeah, it is a credible journalist. So it's not like you just take it with a pinch of salt and it's a nothing story. There is maybe something in that, especially with it being a loan as well, because United have just reported this morning, which I was live for this afternoon, that they are not going to pay big money basically in January. So they're going to look to kind of pivot and loan and maybe bring in a left back on loan. I'm not sure with the whole scenario. I don't know how that's going to work. But they're considering it. So get your thoughts in on that. Get your comments in. Would you take Kolo Muani on loan? Have you watched much of him for France? Have you watched much of him for PSG? I don't know him too well to say it. I've seen bits of him, and what I have seen, he looks good. Even back to his, was it Frankfurt in the German league? He's a little bit raw around the edges, but there's definitely a talent there. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that develops. But for me personally, just straight off the bat, with this topic, I'll just give it, not for me, a no-go. On to the next one. 16-year-old Godwill Kukonki was included in Ruben Amorim's first training session at Carrington today. It was Kukonki's first time training with the senior team. Now, again, this is another one. I know quite a the youngsters in the academy at the moment. Shea Laces, obviously Harry Amas has come through as well. Toby Collier, I know a bit more about. I know a couple of individuals that I've watched closely. This kid, I haven't seen a lot of. I know he's a left-sided centre-half, which is interesting. But in order to give my proper analysis on that player, I can't really do that. But one thing I will say is a positive. If Amorim's coming in straight off the bat and he's saying, I want this kid in here, one, he must have done his due diligence and done his research to chuck him in. We know he trusts young players. It's always been, a fabric of Amorim's management. Did it at Sporting Lisbon. Everywhere he's gone, he's used young players. You look at his net profit in terms of his turnover. His net spend, should I say, in terms of, it was like minus 180 million or something ridiculous. So, yeah, I think this kid coming in can only be positive, and I think you're going to see more and more of this kind of stuff, because the academy at the moment is popping off. There is a lot of talent in there. The youngsters are smashing everyone. You're seeing like 7-0, 8-0, 9-0, top of the league, unbeaten. You got players like Kobbie Mainoo absolutely killing it at the minute. Loads of, really good young players. So, look, I think Amorim's going to be feasting on that. The one thing I will say, just with precaution before we move on to the next kind of topic, is with these academy players, it's a giant step up from that level to the Premier League. You've seen it so many times where a kid's been, really pushed as the next one. And they go into the first team and they look like a fish out of water. They don't know what's hit them. The tempo, the pace, everything's just completely different. How much time you have on the ball. So yes, they're doing phenomenally well in a minute, but just give them that little bit of breathing space to get used to the team. I don't like when he put too much demands on the players and being like, oh, we should, play him every game and do this. And the same thing with Amas at left back. I always say, give him time to develop, and likewise with the other kids. But yeah, only good, right? Only positive stuff, which is fantastic. Now, Manchester United have also sent their scouts Sergio Souza to watch Viktor Gyökeres in action for Sweden against Slovakia on Saturday. I'm not actually sure what score that ended, so before I do, I'm guessing he probably scored because it's just Gyökeres, isn't it? 2-1, and Gyökeres scored, in the 3rd minute, and Isaac scored. They're doing all right then for talents, aren't they, Sweden, up top? Two of the best younger talents, I would say, in Europe at the minute, for sure. But yeah, Viktor Gyökeres scored in that goal. The scout things, is it a little bit weird? Because Ruben Amorim obviously knows him extremely well, has done a lot of research, worked with him in a lot of games, knows him down to a T. This Gyökeres thing just will not go away. Will not go away. No matter what you do with it, no matter where you send it, no matter what journalist it is, this story just keeps popping up, and it's going to be doing that until summer. What I want to know is, and your thoughts as well, what is the realistic chance that we sign Viktor Gyökeres? Where are we at in terms of from 0% saying absolutely, categorically, definitely not happening, to 100% saying I think we can definitely get him? I think Amorim's enough of a pull. I think United and Amorim together is that perfect marriage, and Gyökeres will come over as long as he's got game time. Or does he have his heart set on trophies at City or Arsenal? Is he more likely to do that? Of course, when you look at the teams at the moment. Trophies, actually not, because Arsenal haven't won anything in the past 5 years apart from a COVID Cup. So in that regard, you could kind of say, well, we've won an FA Cup and a Carabao. So, could win the Europa League this year. It just depends. It's definitely not happening in January, though. That is one thing that I will say. 1,000,000% not going to happen. But if they're sending scouts, and Amorim's hinted it, doing, seeing these people. What? I don't even know his celebration. What is it? Is it that? Or something? I'm really butchering this. I have no idea. How do you do it? I know it's something like that, isn't it? Yeah, something like that. He was doing that celebration, so hinting it, even Gyökeres himself, when he's been asked about it, he hasn't turned it down, hasn't completely ruled it out. So Gyökeres want to watch, but look, if we manage to get him in the summer, what a pull that'd be, because I think he's a sensational player. But yeah, I'm sure we've got plenty of time, about 6 months to talk about this and discuss it, and then when it comes to summer, we can really have a look at it. But for now, we're scouting him, his eyes on him, we're monitoring him, all the usual crap coming out of there. On to the last story. How am I doing for time? 7 minutes, 30 seconds. Fantastic. Marcus Rashford and Casemiro have reported back to Manchester United today. The rest of the squad are due back in training on either Wednesday or Thursday. And also, Kobbie Mainoo took part in Ruben Amorim's first training session today. So I'm just curious, because there hasn't been a lot of reports on this in terms of what time it took place, who was in there. From what I can piece together, Yoro, Mainoo, Malacia, Mount, obviously, Rashford, Casemiro return today. You got quite a good chunk of players there. I think the ones that have gone out, Lisandro Martinez has returned, I'm pretty sure. Maguire's on his way back from injury. Johnny Evans, did he play with Northern Ireland? I'm not sure if they was away. So you've actually got a lot of players at your disposal. With the African players, I don't know if they went away either with Amad Diallo or Andre Onana. I'm not entirely sure. But look, he's got a decent pool of players to work with, hasn't he? And does that necessarily mean that these players are more likely to push for a start because he's had more training sessions with them to get his imprint, get his ideas across? I'm not entirely sure. We have got the Ipswich preview coming up on Thursday. I think we're going to do it and break down the full team. And, it's exciting, isn't it, to see what lineup he's going to go with, what players he's going to utilise, who's ready and available, who's really impressing Amorim. Because that's what will happen, especially in the first couple of weeks. They're going to look to impress them. They're going to look to stand out. They're going to be putting in the graft, and they're going to be running more than they've ever done before. That, I would say, you'd have to take with a pinch of salt, because with all due respect, players do that sometimes, and just to catch the coach's eye. Let's see who does it in a sustainable fashion. Let's see who we're talking about in 6 months' time, saying this guy is flourishing under I keep going to say Ahmad, flourishing under Amorim. But yeah, a lot of interesting ones in there. That's the question I'll leave you guys with. Rashford and Casemiro reported back today. Do you think they are both in the team on a regular basis as much as they have been for the past couple of years? What do we think? Yes or no? And Kobbie Mainoo, will he feature alongside Manuel Ugarte? Let's start piecing this team together, folks. This has been Speed News, Real Reds Talk. Please do smash like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. It's a new format. It's something for the Gen Zs, if you will, something quicker. You get your information rapid. And yeah, like I said, hopefully you've enjoyed it. I've been speaking about Kolo Muani. I've been speaking about Viktor Gyökeres. I've been speaking about Kukonki. And I've just given you training updates as well. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.